all had the Grand Slam breakfast. 2 eggs, 2 sausages, 2 slices of bacon, and 2 pancakes. And some juice. And milk. You know, sometimes it's a good day to die. Sometimes it's a good day to have breakfast.
This quote is wisely spoken by Thomas Builds the Fire, played by Evan Adams in the comedy drama Smoke Signals, which is directed and co-produced by Chris Eyre. This independent film centers its plot on 2 young Native Americans, Victor Joseph, played by Adam Beach, and Thomas Builds the Fire. Both are living on the Indian Reserve in Plummer, Idaho. Victor and Thomas came to know each other through Arnold, Victor's father. When Thomas was an infant, Arnold rescued him from a house fire caused by Arnold himself, which killed Thomas's parents. Thomas and Victor then grew up as neighbors with an unstable friendship. Post the death of Thomas's parents, Arnold abandons his family and later on dies in Phoenix, Arizona. Thomas offers Victor some money to travel to Arizona to retrieve his father's ashes. In return, Victor allows Thomas to join him on the adventure. Throughout the adventure, conflicts arise between the 2 contrasting characters. Thomas perceives Arnold as a hero, but Victor regards bitterly his father as a violent alcoholic. However, later on, Victor begins to understand his father through his father's friend Susie Song. In the end, Victor returns home to Idaho in good terms with Thomas and gaining closure from his father's abandonment and death. This movie portrays 2 contrasting social stereotypes. Victor is a self-confident and athletic basketball player with a distinguishable macho character, but he is also very irascible because of his familial problems. On the other hand, Thomas is a typical, well-mannered, spectacled nerd. He is an obsessive storyteller who continually tells tales for his entertainment. Although many stereotypes are present in the characters themselves, the characters present some typical Indian stereotypes that are distinctively portrayed. As an example,
You know, the only thing more pathetic than Indians on TV is Indians watching Indians on TV.
or
Geez, Victor, I guess our warrior luck doesn't work every time.
Shut up, Thomas.
Man, the Cowboys always win.
these words are spoken after the Caucasian men insult Victor and Thomas with very common racial slurs. Although the 2 central characters are distinguished with such stereotypic traits, Smoke Signals also demonstrates the distinctive native culture, thus adding some authenticity to the movie, allowing to show the Native Americans as genuine people. The characters carry Indian traits themselves too. For example, Thomas is very spiritual, unlike Victor, and he follows many traditional Indian ways, such as storytelling. The musical element of Smoke Signals is very limited. Most of the background music was performed by a solo guitarist playing a very simple tune. Although the music was very limited, the music elements played an important role in scenes when Arnold recounts the story of his son Victor.
He was always talking about you 2 playing basketball.
I remember this time. Me and my boy Victor. We were playing 2-on-2 basketball against the Jesuits. These Jesuits had on their white collars and their black robes. They were pretty damn good. By the way they were playing, I could have swore they had 7 out of 12 apostles on their side. Every time I tried to shoot the ball, there was a storm of locusts come flying in and blind me. And I was shooting in the dark. In the dark. I tell you, my boy Victor, he was magic. He couldn't miss. Those Jesuits didn't have a prayer stopping him fair and square. Victor was only 12 years old and kind of small, so those Jesuits were beating upon him real good. They were beating upon him and chanting at him like he was possessed or something. Maybe Victor was possessed by the spirit of Jim Thorpe because he had this look in his eye. He was mean. Come on, Victor, I shouted. Come on, Victor. We're up against the Son and the Father here. And these two are going to need the Holy Ghost to beat us. The score was all tied up. Next basket wins, you know. So the Jesuits had the ball. And this great big redhead Jesuit come driving in and knocked my boy over. My boy, he was tough. You gotta have faith. Next basket wins. He took it to the hoop. And he flew, man, he flew right over that Jesuit. 12 years old, and he was like some kind of indigenous angel or something. Except maybe his wings were made out of TV dinner trays. My boy Victor, he was the man that day. He took that shot, and he won that game. It was the Indians versus the Christians that day. For at least one day, the Indians won. Woo!
In such a scene, the music was very serene and grand and dramatic. This served as an aid to indicate how proud his father was of him, something Victor later on came to understand. In all, the simplicity of the music effectively emphasizes the isolated setting in which this plot takes place. Similar to the use of background music, the camera work is very simple. The center of attention of the camera is always focused on the actor's face. Unlike other movies, the camera never leaves the face out of the scene. This technique is significant to the movie because it emphasizes the focus on the character's emotions, reactions, and personality. The camera work was very minimalistic and simplistic, which I thought was suitable to the plot of the story. Similar to the background music, the camera work allows for the audience to follow the character's emotions and analyze the messages more in depth. In consideration of all important aspects of a good movie, Smoke Signals is a light-hearted movie about culture and personal history with an important message. The movie title itself holds close to the theme of calling for help. When one is warned of a fire, one first notices the smoke. In order to stay safe, one must find out the origin of the smoke, put out the flame, and move on. This relates back to the two central characters of the movie, Victor and Joseph. Victor, whose father abandoned him in his childhood, grows up in confusion and anger, not fully understanding his father's actions. As for Thomas, he grows up with a vague knowledge of his past. Both characters long to seek the source of their past. Through their adventures to Arizona, both Thomas and Victor attain closure to each of their own troubles. The theme of calling for help is appropriate and also draws resonance from the audience. In conclusion, this film perfectly embodies the Native American characters and central theme with exceptional use of straightforward narration, simple and limited camera work, and sincere performance by the outstanding actors Adam Beach and Evan Adams. Smoke Signals certainly portrays the genuine image of Indians, and shown by Randy Peons on Craig's radio, the voice of the Carol Dalen on the Indian Reserve. It's a good day to be Indigenous. Thank you for tuning in to Fantastic Film Fridays, and join us next week for another Film Friday special when we will be reviewing the 2014 Godzilla movie.